All right. So if you're new to programming and if you're new to this channel, welcome. My name is Rob. I am the owner creator of the Code Zone School, and it's a community that can help you further your education with learning to program, whether that be HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Python. We have a lot of courses, but one of the benefits of being a community member is you have the ability to take advantage of open office hours. And that's where in this video, we're going to be showing you kind of what goes on in one of them. And more specifically, the topic that we're dealing with is JavaScript and how we can utilize some JavaScript methods of string methods in order to fix a bug in the code to compare two different strings that might be typed the same, or we see them as being the same as a human, but from a programming level, they are not matching up, meaning that if I have an uppercase word and a lowercase word, they are not the same. And so we're going to be going through a real simple bug example, and we're just going to walk through it and try to talk about things as we're going through the file. So if you're new to programming, new to HTML, CSS, JavaScript, it's a great community to be a part of. So without further ado, let's go ahead and show you kind of what went on there. And if you are interested in taking advantage of this type of learning, make sure you take a look at the link that's going to be in the description. All right. So let's go ahead and play that recording here for you. And so I think last week we were talking about some of the methods and stuff.
Yeah, string methods.
Yeah, string methods. So I was like, well, maybe we can put some of this stuff to use on a web page that's like already kind of built out. And let me go ahead and look at this. I can make this a little bit bigger to fill this. All right. Yeah. So I thought that this might be like a little trouble ticket and stuff that you might get, or maybe, you kind of experience and stuff. But like when you are getting some sort of task and feedback and you're like, hey, this is not working right, because over here, if we type in the word, and I'll go through the example here. We'll type in an uppercase word, and then we'll type in a lowercase word, just like what we have right here, JavaScript. And then we're going to click the check words, and we're going to realize that even though we typed out JavaScript and we typed it out with it being uppercase and lowercase here, and everything down here is lowercase, we're going to get a funky answer because as a human, we read this and we're like, hey, JavaScript, that's the exact same word. Why is it getting a mismatch? And I think we kind of talked about that as well last time, right? And so I really didn't want us to focus on the HTML. I didn't want us to focus on the CSS. And so I kind of wanted us to go through a little bit of introduction on how do we get JavaScript injected into the web page, and then kind of take it a little bit line by line, just kind of going through. And I'll even share this link here with you as well. Matter of fact, you can even play around with it as we're speaking if you want.
I'd gotten through our whole first one-on-one call, and then I
Mhm.
basically hadn't even finished the homework yet. So this is probably perfect right on time because that way I can book in with you this weekend if you're available for a one-on-one and
Yeah.
just play catch up.
Yeah, I won't have any kids, so I'll be good to go for this weekend. So one of the things like right now is if we click on this button, we're not getting any type of action, anything displaying at all. And the way that, how do we connect JavaScript to the web page is you have to let your HTML page know about the JavaScript, right? It doesn't know. And placement of letting it know is very important as well, because the way that a computer reads code, it starts from top to bottom. And if we don't have, and I kind of commented this out right here, is
Yeah.
if we don't have this linkage, and this is how we link it, and we let it know about it, it's going to try to run this script at the very beginning of the code, and the entire web page is not already built out for us to access some of the data from it. So typically, you'll always want to put your JavaScript at the very end of your script, right above the body. Okay, there's this body tag in an HTML. So anyway, so that's how we link it. And how did we get this script.js? that's the name of the file. And so if we
Got it.
look over here, if we would have named that pool party, we'd have to
Sure.
come over here and name it pool party as well.
Got it.
So that's kind of how you link it. Now, JavaScript, again, it reads from top to bottom as well. And later on, we'll talk a little bit more about functions.
Okay, so you got the HTML. Okay, you got the screen split. So the HTML is at the top, and then the JavaScript is at the bottom. So split screen
Yeah.
is what I'm looking at right now.
Split.
Okay,
Yeah, split screen, and then the live preview happens over here.
got it.
So,
HTML. Nice job.
one of the things that I always like to do whenever I'm like linking the pages, and because like one of the things that happens as a developer is you're like, and it's one of the simplest things is you want to make sure that your page is linked properly. And one of the ways to kind of do that is at the very top. I just put a little real quick console log in here, and I just put in hello, and we should see this in
Yeah,
our terminal.
to see that it's working.
Yeah, to see that it's working. And so you'll see it right here. It says
How did you
hello.
get to the terminal? What did you click to get to the
So up here
terminal?
at the very top of the
Okay,
preview,
and
you'll
this
see
is
like a
in
little
like
tunnel.
code, like a web-based
Yeah, this is
VS, essentially, looks like.
yeah. It was modeled strictly from it. And
Okay,
so
got it.
we can hit this clear button. It will clear your console, which is kind of nice. And then in order to see something, you can just like, for now, you can remove and add a semicolon or remove one. Let's see if that picked it up. It picked up a change. So anyways, we see it, it's linked, and we would not see that if the script.js was missing. Cool. All right. So, the I don't expect you to know all this stuff from the get-go, but if we're looking at patterns and stuff, right? And you can see this that blue square, right?
Yeah,
That I just drew on my screen, right? Okay. The way that I kind of explain this in class and when I teach people is that we need to have a way to grab a value out of something that somebody typed into a form, right? And so one of the easiest ways that this happens is whenever we have an input field, right? We have this ID here, and we come over here, and we are call it fishing, right? We're utilizing these things here, document query selector, and we're fishing for an ID on here of called word one. And so this is how we're able to grab it and eventually take the value that's typed into there. Okay. So yeah. So right now we're just letting our JavaScript know, hey, somewhere on this page, there's an HTML element out there that has the ID of word one. And then the same thing here. Hey, somewhere on our HTML page, we have something labeled word two, right? And so that's all that's doing. And the same thing for this. Hey, we're going to go out there. We're looking for something with an ID of check button. Okay. All right. So we're just grabbing that. And then, like I said, we added some comments in here of what each thing does. And like I said, I just want to really focus on some of the nitty stuff that we know now of, hey, we have created a variable here called word one, and we're taking the value that somebody has typed into the form. That's all this one is doing. Saying, hey, whatever they typed in there,
like the input,
I
essentially.
Yep. Yeah. Whatever they typed in here. I believe I have some console logs in here already for us to take a look at. And if I were to type out the word JavaScript and click the button, we should see something in our console. You see where it says, word one is JavaScript, right? And so we took whatever was typed in here and we're storing it into this thing right here. And if you're wondering, hey, where are those console logs at? They're at the way bottom. Got it. Okay. So here's one of the problems of if I were to again, our programming a lot of the times is, hey, we can add some, how can Joe Snuffy jack up my coding? Okay. And so if I add these spaces, if you remember, we added the spaces and stuff, right? From
Correct.
our
Yeah.
last time. And that could really jack us up because you see we got all these spaces right here.
So that's where the trim comes in, right?
There you go. Yep. And so that's where we come in here. So we use what? Trim to remove those extra spaces. And we can add this method to the end of word 1 and word 2. Do you remember what we do or how we add this to the end?
It's definitely a console log, right? Console log.
So now we're kind of, well, yeah, we're kind of getting away from console logging because we wanted to, we're just, well, I mean, we're console logging way down here. So we just want to affect the whatever the person typed in, right? And so whatever the person typed in here, you can see the original word is JavaScript with all these spaces in there, right?
Let me check my note. I got to go to my
What,
note.
what do we put at the end? How do we use that method of trim? Because it says add this method to the end of word 1 and word 2.
What I have is like where we did like greeting dot trim. So in this case, I would assume we're going to do word dot trim.
Okay. So I do dot trim, and then is that how we use it, like that? Or do I need to put anything at the end of trim?
You got to do the parentheses.
Yep. There you go. So we got to add the parentheses. And
Yeah.
so let me go ahead and try that one. So we're going to add the spaces.
Yep.
Okay. Add the spaces at the end, and we're going to check the word. And hopefully we get the original word 1 will have the spaces, but the clean one is going to not do that. So let's go ahead and check the words. And so you can see that the original one had the spaces, but the clean one now has them removed on both right and left.
So it worked good.
Yeah, so that worked. So that means we should probably do that to the second one here as well.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So here's the bug.
That clears up the spacing issue. It doesn't clear the bug, but it clears up a spacing bug essentially.
Correct. Yep. So this one kind of had 2 bugs in it.
Sure.
We just got to the first bug without the same bug. All right. So now with this next bug, it says, so right now the comparison is case sensitive. So now if we do JavaScript and JavaScript all lowercase, and we hit check the words, it says the words don't match, right? So that's our bug. And so we have to use that method. So what method do we have to use that would put these in like a lowercase status, right? Because that's how we can get them to be compared equally, is if we either uppercase them all or we lowercase them. So do you remember, how do we lowercase the word? Because like right now it's a clean word. You know, we got clean word 1, we got clean word 2. So we want to apply that method to both.
I'm obviously using my Visual Studio Code notes.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's .2.
Okay. Is the C capitalized on it, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
C's capital.
Okay. So is it lowercase or lowercase?
Let me go back to your screen. Sorry. Lowercase.
Okay. And then do I need the left and right parenthesis?
Yep. You need the parentheses at the end of it.
All right. And would I need to do just this one, or is this one okay to leave it?
No, we need to do that one as well.
Yep.
Same thing.
Correct.
To apply to both. Is it a rule that if you do it to one, you do it to the other, or is it dependent, I guess?
I would say you do it to both just to ensure, because like I could leave it off this. Watch. I'll take this one off.
Sure.
And then I can come up here and I can do JavaScript.
Yeah.
And then I can do this one lowercase. And I get, hey, they passed, right? But what if I switched this around and made this one like this? Well, now they don't match. To protect yourself, you need to apply it to both. Again, how can Joe Snuffy screw you, right? What's up?
Is this the bug, the lowercase part? That's the bug?
Yep, that's the bug. And so now we go do JavaScript, and then we check the words, and now they match.
That's awesome.
So yep, it doesn't matter. Uppercase, lowercase, they're all there.
So that was your bug for me.
That was one of the bugs. I got another example of a bug that we can go through as well. Think that would help? Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely want to run something by you real quick before the end of the call.
Okay.
I probably need about 15 minutes, just because it's related to one of our projects, and it's I'm using Claude for the commit messages that I received from a developer, and So we have, I'll tell you later, and you'll understand when I show it to y'all. So I'll go.
Okay. Okay, cool. All right.
So
Yep,
to
so we
two lowercase cleared out the bug, and then if we do it to one, we do it to the other. And then the other one was the spacing bug. Kind of like, I feel like spacing in general, is it pretty much boilerplate? You want to have something like that to prevent that, because you wouldn't want to just have spacing. So you must always have trim built into your JavaScript, essentially.
All right, so you made it to the end of this video. That's great. I tell you, we went over a lot of stuff, and hopefully it gave you a nice little introduction to how the HTML file interacts with the JavaScript file, how we get that linked up, as well as how we can just go down methodically and break things down from the fundamentals that we have learned in the past to talk about how do we remove those white spaces, how do we convert that string to lowercase in order to get this application to work. So hopefully this stuck in your mind, and knowing that you have those tools available to you and how you can invoke those methods in order to accomplish your goals. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that you join the CodeZone School and take advantage of these types of open office hours. All right, so we'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.